And we're back. Whiskey Delta. Let's do a quick takeoff here. The little wing's not looking good. Oh, what's wrong with this engine? I haven't messed with the mixture screws, obviously, since, you know, we spoke about it being rich. And the reason for that is it's been running rather well, apart from those occasional hiccups, and I don't want to start messing with things when the weather's looking so good. Oh God. How did that wing end up like that? Right, well, we'll just try and run it out. We'll see how we go when we're up there, eh? What's going on here? Holy moly. The old wing here, out no problem. Look at that, not a missing sight. As on a misfire. Well, the other going to get that sheep that I was telling you about earlier, so let's go and have some fun. Oh, there's Ted, guarding the sheep. It's also a wee bit, I must be getting a wee bit of rotor from somewhere. So let's go down and have a wee look about, see what they're all about. Where's Dad? I don't see Adam. I don't know why. He's usually jumping about. Oh, there he's down there. Dad's doing the funeral duty by the looks of things. Now he might turn off the road here. Not a good idea when my engine's missing like it is. Honestly, if you could feel the vibrations coming off of there now. There's Teddy boy, look. So while Dad gets out and picks that up, we'll fly over here. What a glorious night, honestly. I'm a bit upset with this engine. Doing some missing there, isn't it? Chances are, I'm going to bet that it's not enough fuel. Well, no, because that would mean lean. And if it was lean, it would be a lot hotter than it is, so maybe it's rich. I don't know. But there you go, after takeoff, takeoff was like no problem at all. Now, this is scary, scary. Because obviously I like to go down and buzz over Dad and say alright and all that and have a laugh with him, but because the engine's playing up and just general rule of thumb, i.e. aviation, you shouldn't really mess around like this, you know. It's not the done thing, you know. And I tried it yesterday and it nearly went pear-shaped. It could have went pear-shaped. It might still go pear-shaped. Because an engine out at this height, you know, obviously I've got places that I can land, but I'm not doing a restart anytime soon, that's for sure. You know what I mean? So I have to make sure I'm careful with the throttle. Because I can land out here no problem, and at this altitude I could make it over there. So, you know, I'm alright, I know where I'm going, but you know, you don't want to be taking too many risks. Risk and reward, it's all about, as you say, but you know, be mindful. These moves that I'm doing, you know, these are not something that I would be doing 3 or 4 months ago. This is just something I'm sort of starting to learn, just purely because, you know, I'm at a stage now that I feel comfortable enough to do it. I'm more and more aware with my wing. You know, I wouldn't normally be doing this kind of thing 6 months ago. I'm just getting more and more used to what my limitations are. And when I push the envelope, when I push my sort of skill level, if you like, or my fear factor or risk factor, I'm always mindful of the risks, and I'm always mindful you know, of the things I should be aware of. I'm going to get some altitude because of this fence, and that allows me, if I have an engine out now, bang, I can still land. I know people who can go into much more precarious areas, more agile wings, and they're obviously well aware of their risks. Anyway, enough of the disclaimer rubbish, let's have some more fun. I'm also starting to learn how tight this wing can turn. That's what I should really be, you know, practising and concerning myself with. I've been that busy fitting cameras, checking out gloves, etc, etc, that You know, you forget the basics. One of the things that came to mind a few weeks ago, if I'm at altitude and something goes wrong and I need to get down pretty quick, how would I do that? Many different options, lots of which I'm not even vaguely familiar with. Well, when I say vaguely, I mean like SIV stuff and all that, you know, stalls. All things I should really start, was actually considering doing until I had my first engine out. And then it really sort of gave me that wake-up call, you know, the risks are real. Obviously there's power lines down there, I'm aware of those power lines. There's Dad down there, let's try another risk or reward. Now, power lines, be mindful of the power lines, be mindful of your winds, because the wind's coming from that direction, which will give me a wee bit of rotor roll for these houses possibly. An engine out here now is going to be tricky, probably aiming for the trees. What I'm doing now is slowly descending, obviously being aware of these power lines now. If I have an engine out now, I'm going to hit them. So a wee bit of altitude just to get me over them. An engine out now are basically fucked. What's happening, boys? Engine misfiring like buggery here, which means I'm missing power. You know, I'd never have made it by that tree. The engine's actually revving higher than it's supposed to be with this carburettor, which makes me think it could be running lean, which is why it could be missing at full revs. So I might need to open the top end up a bit. Adjust the top end and then you need to adjust the bottom end, because if it's already running rich at the bottom end, then it's going to be running lean at the top end, and it's a fine balance on these carbs between like rich and, look at that, man, is that not just stunning? Well, I've been up now 10 minutes and my hands are feeling quite warm. It's not as cold as it was yesterday though, so I think the gloves may have been a worthwhile investment so far, but you know, we still have the big trims to look at. Getting a wee bit of rotor here for somewhere, still cold though. Now, here's a wee thing I've noticed in this area, and I wouldn't say that it's definite, but I have noticed it before. So, one of the first flights I ever had, the first sort of 25-minute flights, which at the time was huge for me, was here in this area. I took off, it was like Saturday night, or Saturday evening, it was springtime, it was absolutely amazing. But if you notice, I don't know if, again, you can see it in the camera, but you get like a kind of mist. You know, if you look over there, it's really kind of misty. But ahead of me here, you just kind of catch the rays of the sun, and that's usually a sign that it's not very windy, I've found, and it's great flying conditions. I'm not going to go far, but I'm going to go out my comfort zone a wee bit, so I'm going to get a wee bit of altitude. Bearing in mind now that I want to keep an edge out for any other aircraft, because I'd imagine there'll be some PPL pilots out today as well, because it's been perfect for it. So I would imagine it's quite possible there'll be some other aircraft in the area. You know, when you think about it, I'm the only person, well, there may be people who live round about here will never ever see this, or never ever have seen this area from where I'm seeing it now. They live out here and it's like stunning, and yet they never see it from this perspective. Of course, that might not necessarily be true, because there is regular, you know, tourist flights and that over here that you could probably jump on and, you know, fly over wherever it is you stay. But just wow. The only thing I'm weary around about here at this altitude is fighter planes. This is quite a common area for fighter planes. Not as much, but they used to be here a lot. And you know, obviously that's like not something I would like a face-to-face with. Woo! What I was thinking there was I could go down and drag the ground, but I wouldn't drag anywhere where there's livestock, because you don't want to upset the livestock. It spooks them out, scares them. Through that short valley there's a wee town I'd like to really go and visit sometime, but for some reason I haven't got to it yet. You know, obviously a lot of the flying I do is mostly local. 10 miles at a push round trip. Just purely because, you know, I'm not 100% familiar with my wing yet. And I guess that's what making a good cross-country pilot is all about, you know, is knowing your wing, knowing your aircraft, knowing how to navigate. Round about here I'm kind of alright, you know, as long as I can still see that windmill, that big white house, that big white van, and I've got a kind of rough idea of where I am. As I say, the aim of the day was to try and test these gloves out. Now, I'm not by anywhere near as cold as I was yesterday, but I'm aware that the cold's coming through. I'm also aware that my engine's starting to misfire a bit. I would rather land nearer to home than further away. So that's about the mid-range. It usually does misfire about the mid-range, but when I was looking at the new carburettor kit that I was telling you about the other day there, the new carb was at it's a lot more tunable and a lot more smoother apparently in the mid-range. In the mid-range, as you can tell, when you're cruising along at level flight, you're sort of sitting in my setup, I'm in the kind of mid-range area. It's just something to be mindful of. Engine's really starting to misfire now. I'm going to take her near the airfield here in case we have another engine out. Maybe it's time I started considering a new engine. But with this, I know it's just a tuning issue. It's nothing you know, that I would say is a major issue. Oh, we've got a rotor there. Look at that. How amazing is that? Look at that view. I really hope the camera's still on, and I hope it's doing the justification that it should be for that view. Because wow, it's funny, isn't it? Because look, where the landing's dull, and then like a couple of 100 feet in front, if that, it's like just pure glorious. Look at that sunset, man. You just want to fly right into it, don't you? Oh, and that's what we're going to do. I'm really no good at these outro videos. I can't deny it. Today's lessons for me were all about risk and reward. Even looking back on the footage from today's flight made me think, what was I doing? But at the time in the air, I assessed it to be respectably safe, even though I knew I was pushing the boundaries and entering a risk. It's just important that you always remember the dangers that are involved in the decisions that you make. Another thing that I learned today was GoPros. Don't face them at the feet, face them at the horizon, so that when you tell people how beautiful the scenery is, they actually see it. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, give us a big like and the thumbs up. If you didn't, subscribe. Enjoy your flights, guys.